Welcome to Weddings Unveiled, the podcast designed to help you build a productive, profitable wedding or event business. Here's your host, Angela Profit.
Hi, y'all. It's Angela Profit, your event and productivity therapist, coming to you from the heart of Music City in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Weddings Unveiled, professional tips and secrets on wedding planning and event design, where we take you behind the scenes of our past experiences in the event industry, what we have learned from them, and how they have made us stronger. This podcast will help you grow a productive and profitable business to launch you into success within the hospitality industry. Today, I'm joined by the best communications and event consultant in the business, Alison Burry.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for having me, Angela. I'm so excited to share some of our past experiences together. We've definitely been through some unique situations over the years. What are we discussing today?
Today, we are talking about family and allowing them to arrive for pictures prior to the ceremony and prior to setup being completed.
Well, tell us the story. What happened this time?
Well, this time the bride and groom wanted to see each other first and do a first look and have all their kind of extended family, I would say, like 30 or 40 of them, come before the wedding ceremony so they could do all the pictures beforehand. A lot of our brides like to go around downtown Nashville and take pictures on the pretty bridge and in the city, and she wanted her family to be a part of that, which is great. But when you're setting up at a venue where the ceremony and the reception's in the same spot and you have to flip it, and just loading in and loading out, and there wasn't a lot of storage, and there really wasn't any place for the family to go until the photographer instructed them to go outside and stand here for pictures. So all this family started to arrive. We had about, I would say, an hour and a half before Prelude was going to start. And, you know, in the last hour, I would say like miracles happen all the time, and stuff just gets put together like it always happens. And having all this family there coming up to us asking, like, is this going to be done? Like, what about this pile of cloths over here? And I just wanted to say, everybody get outside and stop talking to us. We got it. We do this every weekend. Like, we're good. But they don't understand that. And so it's like, you can't be rude or you can't get mad. So finally, I just said, guys, we've really got to hustle. And so communicating with them was so important to just be like, stop talking to us. Let us set up. But going back, gosh, I just wish that I would have had a plan for the family to meet, like in the hotel lobby across the street where the bride and groom were staying, or just a better place than trying to cram people in an area to meet that we were setting up. Plus, it's just not safe. Like, there's toolboxes everywhere, and then you've got kids running around that are like dressed nice for the wedding. So it really just isn't safe. So at that wedding, that started the day off just a little frustrating. And then the ceremony happened, and we were supposed to direct everyone upstairs so that we could flip the bottom floor from the ceremony to the dinner area. And so we successfully did that. The flip was a little shaky. We had guests that would not go upstairs, so they were downstairs. In fact, one of the guests was walking and got their foot caught in a drape, and the whole drape and upright completely fell over. And at this point, we were almost done with the flip, and my drape vendors had left, so I had to call them back, and they had to pull the ladder back out. It's just, guests don't understand, like, there is a reason for everything. If we're asking you to go upstairs to get out of our way, it is for safety purposes. And you're not down here working. You can be upstairs mingling, having cocktails, like having fun. But some people just, they're interested in what we're doing. Some people perceive that as nosy. I just think that they are interested, and that's fine. But again, it doesn't make for a safe flip at all. The other thing at that wedding is at the ceremony, we had lots of beautiful candles in all different heights, some floating candles, some pillar candles, all around the stage for the bride and groom. And the stage was going to become their sweetheart table area where just the bride and groom were going to sit for dinner. And so those candles and the water and all that stuff was going to stay, but we were going to rearrange it just a little bit. And every single time we use a cylinder with water and a floating candle, it never fails that some guest isn't watching where they're walking and they accidentally step on it or run into it and it shatters and wax goes everywhere and water goes everywhere. And so things like that put us behind. And so again, there's always a reason for everything. So we get done with the flip, dinner starts, and it's a holiday weekend. And so some of the staff really wanted the party to end on time, and we were trying to stay on time because some of the younger staff members who have a nightlife wanted to go out. And so things were starting to get a little bit rushed. And towards the end of the night, I don't know if they were going to extend the party or not, but we had a huge issue/damper where one of the bartenders decided to throw a drink at one of the guests. And not only was it just the guest, it was the best man and his girlfriend. It pretty much like ruined her dress. And so of course they come find me, and I thought the best man was going to jump over the bar and hit punch the bartender. And then one of the caterers came over and said, I'm pretty sure that bartender is pretty trash. So I found out he had been drinking all night long behind the bar when he was supposed to be working, and he was pre-gaming for the holiday weekend is what he had told her exactly. So we asked him to leave. Don't know how he got home. Didn't care. And then I told the best man and the girl that was with them in this beautiful, expensive-looking dress to please get me their clothes. I can have them dry cleaned and shipped to them. What do you do in that situation, And oh, buddy, they took me up on it. They definitely left their clothes. And then the venue owner talked with me on Monday about it, and come to find out, the bartender was one of her little family members. And so it's not like she could exactly fire him, but she did have to absorb some of the cost because the groom was extremely upset and it was very unprofessional. And, even after all that drinking, we still had a ton of alcohol left over at the end of the night that, we had to pack up and send home with the clients. So, there's a couple things that I learned from that wedding.
Definitely. I'll never forget when we were making her alcohol order, she was very adamant on how big of beer drinkers her family was. And she was just, and we never know these guests, so we just have to take her word for it. So we were making the alcohol quote, and she wanted 10 cases each of at least 5 different beers. And we were like, that is so much beer. And even the guy that we ordered the alcohol from was like, are you sure you want that much beer? And she was like, yeah, they're going to drink it. And they did not. And we had so much beer left over. The dad drove a minivan, and even with every single seat down, we still didn't fit every single case of leftover beer in that car. It was so much. And so we definitely learned from then on to question them a little bit more about how well they know their guests. And luckily in that situation, they were able to keep the alcohol, and they took it home, and they'll eventually drink it, so it wasn't wasted money, but it was still a lot left over and a lot of stuff to lug around at the end of the night. But Angela, what would you say your biggest takeaway was from everything that happened that day?
I would say my biggest takeaway is if we are doing a flip and if the family has to come before we're prepared for them to come, is to hire security maybe and make sure that they stay in a designated area. I will also say that I learned that signage doesn't really work. We put up signs for various things and people just don't listen. So having security in place to make sure that things happen appropriately would be good. And then also just having a plan for the leftover items. We never really had to deal with it that much where, we would load up the gifts and, a few personal items for the clients, but the leftover alcohol was a lot. And so now we try to encourage clients not to overestimate. And of course, if something runs out and if we need to run out and get it, we can. But it's always maybe better to do that than just completely overestimate and then have more than one person in charge. So if it doesn't all fit, like in her dad's minivan, you have a backup person that can help so nothing goes to waste.
Great. Well, Angela, can you share with our listeners some of the different products and resources you have available to help wedding and event planners?
Absolutely. You can visit the blog on the website, and there's lots of great articles and resources available there, which it's angelaprofit.com. You can sign up for tips and resources and be part of our email list. We'll send you all kinds of juicy details. We do webinars and live events, so watch social media for more about that.
Awesome. Well, Angela, thank you so much for sharing your valuable advice with us today. I can't wait for next week to tell more of our incredible experiences together.
And thank you, Alison, so much for joining me. And thank you so much to our listeners for joining us today on Weddings Unveiled, professional tips and secrets on wedding planning and event design. Tune in next week to learn more from our past experiences. If you found this podcast helpful, please share it with other wedding and event professionals. Be sure to subscribe today so you never, ever miss the juicy details of Weddings Unveiled. I'm so passionate about helping other event professionals, and with my background in psychology, I appreciate that our best selves develop from real-life situations. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for more tips on how to grow your business. And if you have a question or an unresolved issue that you want guidance on, connect with us on angelaprofit.com. For more valuable resources, again, visit the website. And until next time, remember to stay productive and profitable.
You've been listening to Weddings Unveiled with Angela Profit. Join us next time for more insights to help you build a productive, profitable wedding or event business. For more great resources, head over to angelaprofit.com.